LLM LLM from Christ University. So thereafter she started her career with the Public Prosecutor National Investigation Agency. Thereafter she started her career in High Court at MKD Associates. Thereafter in 2017 she became independent. She is a TEDx speaker. TEDx is an international platform. She made several talks in that particular platform also. She is the secretary of Vishwas, an NGO chaired by district collector. She is the secretary of that particular NGO also. She made several articles in several good articles. She had written several articles also. I invite her to present her topic here. I cordially invite her. Thank you.
Thank you for the exaggeration. I gave just a single talk on TEDx. So, nothing I can do it. And this is a pretty interesting topic that I want to bring to you all today. It's artificial intelligence. Let's try and keep it interactive, shall we? Because it's something that's constantly developing, and for that reason, we all have a lot to contribute to the subject as well. So I just wanted to pose a question. What do you think is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is നമ്മളോട് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ ആദ്യം വരുന്ന ഒരു മെമ്മറി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഇമേജ് എന്താണ്? Anybody can say.
Think that artificial.
To think artificially. Yes. No, but ഒരു ഇമേജ് വരില്ലേ? AI പറയുമ്പോൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു കാര്യം പറയുമ്പോൾ അത് എന്തായിരിക്കും?
Natural അല്ല.
Natural അല്ല. That's true. But start വരുന്ന ഇമേജ് എന്തായിരിക്കും മാം? പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒരാളുടെ AI റോബോട്ട് എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു എന്താ വരാ? Terminator. Siri, right? Or Terminator, or let's say Machina, or maybe Android could have been, right? പെട്ടെന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ മനസ്സിലേക്ക് വരുന്ന ഇമേജസ് അങ്ങനെയാണല്ലോ. പക്ഷേ artificial intelligence is actually the simulation of human intelligence in machines. മനുഷ്യന്റെ പോലെയുള്ള ഇന്റലിജൻസിനെ സിമുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് മെഷീൻസിനെ കൊണ്ട് ചിന്തിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യത്തിനെയാണ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ടെക്നോളജിനെയാണ് ആർട്ടിഫിഷ്യൽ ഇന്റലിജൻസ് പറയുന്നത്. So these machines are designed to not merely follow what they programmed to do. അങ്ങനെയല്ല. ഇപ്പൊ മുമ്പൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന പല പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ you give them a set of instructions. ഇന്ന കോഡ് വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇന്ന് റെസ്പോൺസ് കൊടുക്കണം എന്നുള്ള രീതിയാണ്. But artificial intelligence is a technology that can think, learn and make decisions. That is what separates it from other type of automations, for example. So sometimes artificial intelligence can think, learn and make decisions even faster than humans. This is as things stand today. So it enables machines to recognize patterns or solve problems and perform complex tasks that require human intelligence. പലരും നമ്മുടെ ഏറ്റവും ജൂനിയേഴ്സ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ലോയേഴ്സ് ChatGPT യൂസ് ചെയ്ത് ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെന്ന് കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇവിടെ ആരും ചെയ്യാറുണ്ടോ? പറയില്ലല്ലോ. പക്ഷെ എന്തായാലും അതിൽ ആക്ച്വലി after I started this research I did try ചില കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചോദിച്ചു നോക്കാൻ, ചിലതിന്റെ ആൻസേഴ്സ് കിട്ടാനൊക്കെ. And it is possible, we can use it. Now what it can do is it can even recognize patterns. So you can feed it data. So basically ഈ മിക്ക ആർട്ടിഫിഷ്യൽ ഇന്റലിജൻസും പഠിക്കാൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന data is a lot of data. പല രീതിയിൽ കളക്ട് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുത്ത data. So ഒരു ആളെ പറ്റിയോ രണ്ടാളെ പറ്റിയോ അങ്ങനെയല്ല. It's ഒരു പോപ്പുലേഷനിൽ തന്നെ പഠിക്കാനുള്ള data AI ഫീഡ് ചെയ്ത് കൊടുത്തിട്ടാണ് ആ AI നമുക്ക് റിസൾട്ട് വരുന്നത്. It's using that data to learn. And once it learns, it can recognize patterns, solve problems, and perform complex tasks that usually requires human intelligence. In fact, so much so, China has been deputing artificial intelligence to certain courts. ചില കോടതികളിൽ artificial intelligence in the decision making നടത്തുന്നുണ്ട് as we speak in China. So AI is pretty much like a virtual brain. It can be programmed to understand and respond to its environment. I think at least some of us ChatGPT use ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ repeatedly use ചെയ്ത് വരുമ്പോൾ അത് നമ്മുടെ ഭാഷ പഠിക്കുകയും നമ്മൾ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന രീതി മനസ്സിലാക്കുകയും നമുക്ക് തിരിച്ച് നമ്മൾ എങ്ങനെയാണോ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത് അതുപോലുള്ള റെസ്പോൺസ് തരാൻ തുടങ്ങുകയും ചെയ്യാം. And this is just the beginning. And there are different types of AI. ചിലത് hypothetical ആണ് at this stage, but there is narrow AI, which is weak AI, that is designed for a very specific task, like ma'am said, Siri. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ Google Assistant, or even ChatGPT for that matter. They are good at conversations, but they can't possibly drive a car, right? സംസാരിക്കാൻ പറ്റും, ചെറിയ ടാസ്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, പക്ഷെ അവർക്ക് ഒരു കാർ ഓടിക്കാൻ പറ്റാൻ അവർക്ക് പറ്റില്ല. Then there is general AI or strong AI. Now these are AIs that can perform any intellectual task that a human can. A robot that can think, learn and reason like a human. ആ പോയിന്റിലോട്ട് നമ്മൾ എത്തിയിട്ടില്ല. പിന്നെ completely hypothetical, ഇപ്പൊ നിലവിൽ തിയററ്റിക്കൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ളത് സൂപ്പർ AI, that is AI that surpasses human intelligence. നമ്മുടെ സിനിമയിലൊക്കെ കാണുന്ന പോലെ, നമ്മളെ പോലെ ഒരു ലിമിറ്റ്സ് ഇല്ലാതെ ചിന്തിക്കാൻ, നമ്മളെ കാണും ചിന്തിക്കാൻ സാധ്യതയുള്ള ടെക്നോളജി. There are also other different categorization on AIs. That is reactive AI. That pre-programmed rules വെച്ചിട്ടുള്ള AI. അതായത് chess game കളിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയുള്ള AI. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ limited memory AI. Self-driving cars, which we've seen. അല്ല, വീഡിയോസ് നമ്മൾ ഇൻസ്റ്റാഗ്രാമിൽ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. ടെസ്ലയിലുണ്ട്, ബാക്കി ടാക്സീസിൽ ചിലതിൽ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. So those types of things. That theory of mind AI എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടൊരു ഒരു theoretical AI is there, where മനുഷ്യന്റെ ഇന്ററാക്ഷൻസും ഇമോഷൻസും മനസ്സിലാക്കി സംസാരിക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്ന രീതിയിലുള്ള AI, കുറച്ചുകൂടി അഡ്വാൻസ്ഡ് വേർഷൻ than what exists today. Then self-aware AI, that is like, has its own thoughts, emotions and consciousness. അതിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ ഇതുവരെ എത്തിയിട്ടില്ല. Now, how does AI learn? AI actually learns through machine learning, deep learning എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ കുറേ concepts ഉണ്ട്. Which simply പറയുവാണെങ്കിൽ in a way that we can understand, like AI can learn from labeled data. That is ഒരു നമ്മൾ കുട്ടികൾക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്കില്ലേ, ഒരു പൂച്ചേനെ കാണുമ്പോൾ ഇതാണ് പൂച്ച എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതാണ് പൂവ്, ഇതാണ് എന്നത്, ഒരു റിപ്പീറ്റഡ് എക്സ്പോഷർ വരുമ്പോൾ ആ കുട്ടി കുറെ കഴിയുമ്പോൾ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, അത് എന്താണെന്ന് റെക്കഗ്നൈസ് ചെയ്യാൻ തുടങ്ങും. സിമിലർലി തന്നെയാണ് AI. If you expose it to data, after a while it start picking up and learning what each of those things are. So that's supervised learning. Now unsupervised learning ഉണ്ട്. കുറെ കഴിയുമ്പോൾ ഈ ലേബൽസ് ഒന്നും ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ കൂടി AI will start learning and figuring out what it is. Then there is reinforcement learning. That is through trial and error. These are different types of AI. Now, how do you think AI is different from robots or automation? Can anybody tell me? Can you try? AI and automation is another വ്യത്യാസം എന്തായിരിക്കും? I think Vivek would know because he got it there almost.
Essentially, automation is simply mechanical ഇത് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളൂ. Application of mind नहीं है. Application of mind there is a name.
So I'll bring that difference. ഇപ്പൊ ചില കാർസ് ഇല്ലേ, ഒരു കൺസിസ്റ്റന്റ് സ്പീഡിൽ പോകുന്ന മാരുതി
Cruise drive.
Cruise drive is a kind of automation. It manages ആ ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ഇങ്ങനെ നിർത്താതെ ഇങ്ങനെ പോവാം. That's what it can do. But AI വരുന്ന ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ വരുമ്പോൾ അതിനെ ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്തെടുക്കാൻ പറ്റും. റിയൽ ലൈഫ് സിനാരിയോയിൽ പെഡസ്ട്രിയൻ ക്രോസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അതിനെ ഡിറ്റക്ട് ചെയ്ത് പെഡസ്ട്രിയൻ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കാനും അങ്ങനെ നിർത്താനും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു വെഹിക്കിൾ വരുന്നുണ്ട് അവിടെ നിർത്താനും, ഒരു ആക്സിഡന്റ് കാണാൻ പോകുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവിടെ നിർത്താനും അതിനനുസരിച്ച് പ്രവർത്തിക്കാനും സാധിക്കുന്ന രീതിയിലേക്ക് വരുമ്പോൾ ക്രൂസ് കൺട്രോളിൽ മാറി അത് ആർട്ടിഫിഷ്യൽ ഇന്റലിജൻസ് ഡ്രൈവിംഗ് ആയി മാറും. That is the basic difference. Now, robots on the other hand are physical machines. They can be AI powered also. AI ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന robots ഉണ്ടാവും. Like, have you heard of Sophia? കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ലേ വീഡിയോ? Sophia had a very interesting thing happening to her. ആർക്കെങ്കിലും അറിയാമോ?
Citizenship.
Yes. Saudi gave Sophia citizenship. So these types of things are happening. So now when we think about citizenship, അതിന്റെ ഒരു interesting aspect is പിന്നീട് സംസാരിക്കാൻ പറ്റും personhood of AI. It was an aspect that was actually dealt with by the European Union. AI ക്ക് നമുക്ക് personhood കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ എന്നുള്ളത്. That's again a jurisprudential concept. I will get to that in a little while. So we can look at real life examples of AI. പല രീതിയിലുള്ള AI നമ്മുടെ ചുറ്റിനും ഇപ്പോഴും കാണാൻ പറ്റും. So for example, sir പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ തന്നെ Siri, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ Google Assistant, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ChatGPT, ഇതൊക്കെ നമ്മുടെ ഡെയിലി ലൈഫിൽ കാണുന്ന AI ആണ്. ഇതല്ലാതെ there are also healthcare ഉണ്ട്, like diagnosing with X-rays, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ MRI scans, അതിനെ analyze ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന AI. Finance, that is when there's fraud detection in banking. Entertainment, something that we do every day. How many of us use Netflix or any other OTT? All of us, right? ചില സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾക്ക് മൂവീസ് സജഷൻ വരാറില്ലേ? And be accurate, no? നമ്മൾ കാണാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്ന തീമിലുള്ളതല്ലേ? It is learning. We don't give it that much thought. But ശരിക്കും പറയാം, it is learning based on the information we are providing with it. നമ്മൾ കാണുന്ന pattern identify ആ pattern അകത്ത് നിന്ന് എടുത്തിട്ട് it is going to provide you with some type of input, right? It's very useful for us. So then there is customer service. You might have seen ചില ഇൻഷുറൻസ് കേസസിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പോൾ ചില ബാങ്ക്സ് University website, you can talk to the bot and it'll give you some basic information. Some bots are a little bit more advanced than the others, chatbots in there. Pinna smart assistants, self-driving cars, like you said, Tesla's AI-based autopilot. E-commerce, that is Amazon's AI can suggest what to buy next. Because it's analyzing, right? So, general public using as Grammarly, Google Lens, ChatGPT, all of that. So this is where AI stands today. Now, when I talk about it, I just want to talk about what legal issues can come up with AI. And this is where it gets interesting for us. In the future, let's just think about it. How many of us work with IP? Intellectual property. I really don't know. Good. So, copyright, right? What is the basis of copyright? In the very good copyright, and in the degree of what should be there?
Labor, skill.
There should be originality, right? Creativity, originality, it should be novel, that type of thing, right? It should be creative, basically. So, how many of us have actually seen Insta AI generated images? That's input generating. But after a while, AI is putting so much creativity into it. It's creating images you've never seen. Give me an image of paradise somewhere. It's using existing images, but it's also using something which is adding from its hand. Now, the image which is searching, you won't find it in Google Images. Right? That's been happening. Usually they say, defects are done. Like you'll never be able to find a wine glass that's full because most of the wine glass photographs are of wine filled in half. Anyway, so let's look at it like that. Copyright infringement. So let's say an AI develops art or something that is copyrightable. Another beautiful piece of literature. Now, I think I mentioned this earlier. Contract drafting contract drafting. You can even use it to maybe edit your own writing or articles. In that sense, then what happens? Can you copyright it is the question. Because AI is not a person. And we have only novelty music. We have not become creative there. There's nothing original there basically. That's under patent. No. But I meant is originality, yeah. Then what happened? So there was a case like that in 2023. This was Getty Images with Stability AI. So Stability AI, the creator of Stable Diffusion, an AI-powered image creator, was sued by Getty Images for allegedly using millions of copyrighted images without permission to train its AI model. AI model training they took data, which is copyrighted content. So Getty claimed that Stability AI scraped copyright images from its database and used them without a license. So this raises the issue whether AI-generated content trained on copyright work constitutes fair use or infringement and all that. Case is ongoing. So nobody knows. So the question is, you're using it for education, right? We're teaching somebody with it. Our teaching purpose in education, there is an exception in terms of copyright, right?
Fair use exception.
Fair use. So when you're using copyrighted images to teach AI, can you get the benefit of fair use? So these types of really cool questions, really interesting, futuristic questions are part of the AI discussion. Another thing is AI defamation. I personally tried to look at AI platform. I tried to say something about a person. I said, this is what I feel about this particular influencer. Okay. And believe it or not, it started gossiping back. So I totally agree with you. This know it or I hate her. And this actually happened, which is crazy actually. But what happens if AI generates defamatory content on its own? By taking data that is there. Existing data, reviews on YouTube channel, comments on this is analysis of what it done is defamatory. That type of thing. So now intention is something you only attribute to human beings. But where we feel like, okay, AI might be defaming me. Let's say AI comes and defames me. If I come to any of you, any case and AI defaming me, what will happen? I'm pretty sure everybody will come up with their own solutions, which is probably how our jurisprudence is going to grow from this point on, which is a very interesting time to be alive. So on that, there was a case. This is a journalist, Mark Walters, sued OpenAI, that is the creator of ChatGPT, because falsely claimed he was accused of fraud in a legal case. അടിച്ച് ഇറക്കി വിട്ടു, ഫ്രോഡ് നടത്തി ഇയാളെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട്. So Walters argued that OpenAI generated statements were defamatory. The case raises questions about who is responsible for false or harmful AI generated content. The developer, the user, or both. So lawsuit is again ongoing. We don't have an answer yet. I've deliberately chosen cases like that. Can I definite answer on the thrill here? Then another thing is AI bias and discrimination. നേരത്തെ ഞാൻ പുറത്ത് നിന്നപ്പോൾ ഒരാളുടെ കോൺവെർസേഷൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. കോടതിയിൽ ബയസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ട് ജഡ്ജസിനെ റീപ്ലേസ് ചെയ്ത് AI കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് എങ്ങനെ ഇരിക്കുമെന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു. പക്ഷെ അതിപ്പം ചൈനയിലെ ചില സ്മോൾ കോസസ് കേസസിൽ AI ഇരുന്ന് ജഡ്ജ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. But the point is that we are overestimating AI. We are thinking that AI will not be biased. That is a mistake. The reason is that AI is ultimately learning from data that we provide. നമ്മളുടെ മനസ്സിലുള്ള എല്ലാ ബയസസും എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് ഡേറ്റയിൽ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, ആ ഡേറ്റ വെച്ചാണല്ലോ AI പഠിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്. A simple example of that would be Amazon situation of that. Amazon hiring process. AI started discriminating against women. And they had to scrap the thing. Why? Because we are discriminatory to women. അത് നമ്മൾ മനുഷ്യരാജ്ഞ ആയതുകൊണ്ട് AI നമ്മളെ കണ്ടുപിടിച്ചു and started becoming discriminating. ഇത് Amazon's AI hiring bias ആണ് 2018 ശരിക്കും സംഭവിച്ച ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്. Amazon had to shut down this particular system before it led to lawsuits. But it highlighted the risk of AI perpetuating illegal hiring discrimination. പിന്നെ വേറൊരു കാര്യമുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, കോമ്പസ് അൽഗോരിതം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞൊരു അൽഗോരിതം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, റേഷ്യൽ ബയസസ് ലൈക്ക് വേ ബാക്ക് 2016. So this was AI powered at a compass learner system which was used by courts, US courts, to predict recidivism, that is likelihood of reoffending, which is supposed to be racially biased. Think about it. A ProRepublica investigation found that Compass disproportionately labeled black defendants in high risk compared to white defendants, and even when the crime severity and history were similar. So equal protection clause under the US Constitution was supposed to be violated. So again, something that is to be discussed. Another thing that we've all seen, നമ്മുടെ കുംഭമേളയ്ക്ക് അംബാനി കട തുടങ്ങിയ വീഡിയോ കണ്ടിട്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇല്ലേ? We've all seen it, right?
Yes.
We've also seen a lot of actors doing crazy things, or politicians giving speeches and getting beaten up. Very scary videos. Allegedly, minor violence.
Trump getting arrested.
Yes, Trump getting arrested. All these types of videos that we've seen. And ചില സമയത്ത് you really cannot make out, right? ഇതിലെ സത്യമാണ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പറ്റിക്കാണോ. So AI deepfakes and privacy violations is another area that is going to boom soon. So അതിലെന്താ വെച്ചാൽ scammers can use AI generated deepfake videos to impersonate. മുമ്പ് ഒരു ആകെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന ഒരു ഫിഷിംഗ് വെബ്സൈറ്റ് ആയിരുന്നു ബാങ്കിന്റെ ഒക്കെ. Now like a friend can actually call me on video call. ജയകൃഷ്ണൻ എന്നെ വിളിക്കുന്ന പോലെ വിളിക്കാം, എന്നിട്ട് എന്നോട് പൈസ ചോദിക്കാം. നമുക്കിപ്പം എല്ലാവർക്കും മെസ്സേജസ് മാത്രമേ വരുന്നുള്ളൂ, നാളെ വീഡിയോ കോൾ വരും. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പൊ കോടതിയിലെ വീഡിയോസ് സർക്കുലേഷൻ, ഹൗ ഡു വി നോ ഇഫ് ഇറ്റ്സ് AI generated or not? We believe it. അല്ലെ, നോർത്തിൽ ഏതോ ഒരു കോടതിയിലെ ഒരു ജഡ്ജ് ലോയറോട് മോശമായിട്ട് പെരുമാറാൻ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടു വിശ്വസിക്കും. But an AI generated ആണോ എന്ന് നമുക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ അറിയാൻ പറ്റും. At some point we won't know. ഇപ്പോൾ നിലവിൽ ഓക്കെ നമുക്ക് കോണ്ടാക്ട്സ് ഉണ്ട്, മനസ്സിലാക്കാം. But tomorrow what will happen? So that's another problem. So our deepfake fraud address ചെയ്യാൻ ഒന്നും തന്നെ ഇപ്പോൾ നിലവിൽ കാര്യമായിട്ടില്ല, ടച്ച് അപ്പോൺ ചെയ്യാനേ ഉള്ളൂ. പക്ഷെ ഒരുപാട് ഇൻഡെപ്ത് ആയിട്ട് പോകാനില്ല. So there was another case. This is Scarlett Johansson, we all know her, versus AI voice cloning. This was in 2023. So Scarlett Johansson's voice was cloned using AI without her permission for an advertisement. ഇതൊരു ലീഗൽ കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് മാറുകയും കമ്പനി ആഡ് റിമൂവ് ചെയ്യുകയും ഒക്കെ സംഭവിച്ചു. പക്ഷെ how many of us have seen politicians പാട്ട് പാടുന്ന വീഡിയോസ് ആണ് ഇൻസ്റ്റാഗ്രാമിൽ? ഇല്ലേ? How many romantic stories have we seen? ഇല്ല, ശരിക്കും സ്വന്തം വോയിസിൽ പാടുന്ന പോലെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കമന്റ്സ് പറയുന്ന പോലെ. അതും ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ സീരിയസ് വയലേഷൻസ് which we're not seeing. Let's say I am using my voice to talk to an AI. And I might be giving it permission. നമ്മൾ എന്തൊക്കെ permissions കൊടുക്കുന്നത് നോക്കാതെയാണ് we click on all the apps. When we download it on Google, on Play Store or any other app store, do we check what permissions we're giving it? What if it's collecting our data? What if Nada thinking AI downloading the subset will talk back to you in your voice? Or even worse, your ex's voice. So then let's look at AI and criminal liability. It gets more interesting at this point. So AI generated child exploitation material was a serious crime. So we are making so much effort to stop child pornography. We're saving children box. So around the world, child pornography laws are very stringent. And then comes AI. So it's generating that content. അപ്പോൾ എത്ര എളുപ്പത്തിൽ എത്ര നെഗറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യം ചെയ്യാമെന്നുള്ളതാണ് നെക്സ്റ്റ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ. സോ പല രാജ്യങ്ങളിലുള്ള നിയമം was written before this happened. So it may not protect from this type of thing. In India, obviously, pornography altogether is a shady territory. But there are countries where pornography is permitted. And child porn definition may only actually include the child itself. നമ്മുടെ ഇവിടെ അങ്ങനെയല്ല, child ആണെന്ന് തോന്നിയാലും മതി. പക്ഷെ അങ്ങനെ എല്ലാ കൺട്രീസും ഉണ്ട്. Then what happens? So lawmakers are considering amending laws to include AI generated material. Next thing is AI and autonomous vehicles. Uber self-driving car under the Jaya. Let's say it decides, or it hits somebody and that person dies. Who will you sue? നമ്മുടെ കമ്പനി ലയബിലിറ്റി എന്നല്ല നമ്മൾ പറയും. കുറെ കാലം കഴിയുമ്പോൾ മനുഷ്യന്റെ ഓണർഷിപ്പ് ഒന്നും ആയിരിക്കില്ല. Then who do you sue? I mean, who do you put in prison? Robot in prison le pachillalo. Like in India, they dismantle you. But what would happen in reality is the next question. So, it was something undairno. Actually, I don't know if it's a real story or not because again, what can you trust on the internet? But an autonomous Uber vehicle apparently struck and killed a person in Arizona while in self-driving mode. So, the case questioned whether AI is safety driver or Uber was responsible. Uber avoided criminal liability, but the human safety driver faced charges. Another thing is autopilot accidents. Tesla cases are ongoing in terms of accidents. Now, the worst kind, AI and national security. Cyber attacks and warfare. So there was this news item on AI-driven cyber attack against certain water treatment facilities, potentially poisoning water supplies. So, in a situation, what do we do? It's not at an individual level anymore. It's against a country. Or let's say we take out all the soldiers and we employ robots into war. Our basic human consideration, even we're not got there yet. Hopefully not in our lifetime. Now, AI and consumer protection is another aspect which is also interesting, but not to me, so I'm not discussing it. Then, legal gaps and future implications. This is another very interesting territory. So, who owns AI-generated content? This is the first question. Who is liable for AI mistakes? That's another thing. How do we regulate AI bias? And then the bias is bias regulate. How are we going to regulate AI bias, which is learning from lakhs and lakhs of people? Or how do we combat AI-driven crime? So, this type of situation next. That's where the second lap of my conversation starts. This is EU AI legislation. European Union came up with the legislation. It's not been that long. It is just last year. Fully implemented guidelines being implemented over the course of some time. So key highlights is, this is the really interesting bit. India we're actually, am I audible in the back? Because I'm not here. So, India ഒരു crime commit ചെയ്തതിന് ശേഷമാണ് നമ്മൾ അവിടെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ചെയ്യുന്നുള്ളൂ. So let's say somebody uses somebody's voice. Video ഉണ്ടാക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്, we'll all enjoy, we'll have fun with it, we'll all go to sleep. But നാളെ ആ voice വെച്ച് ആരെങ്കിലും തെറി പറഞ്ഞാൽ അപ്പോൾ കേസ് വരും. or defamation പറഞ്ഞാൽ അപ്പോൾ കേസ് വരും. obscenity കാണിച്ചാൽ കേസ് വരും. But merely using. So we would have privacy something, let's say, put a summary judgment. But has it really come into the form of a statute to save us? Our point like we have technology at that point cross use. So let's look at EU. European Union has come up with an Artificial Intelligence Act. So it categorizes, so what it does is in reverse. India ഒരു പ്രോബ്ലത്തിനെ സോൾവ് ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ അവർ പ്രോബ്ലം ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാതിരിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി നോക്കുന്നു. So they've come up with a few categories. One is unacceptable risk. Second, high risk. Three is limited risk and fourth is minimal risk. നാല് റിസ്ക് കാറ്റഗറീസ് ആയിട്ട് വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. Unacceptable risk എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് is simply banned. ഇത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാനേ പറ്റില്ല. AI is banned to that extent. That is social scoring or subliminal manipulation. എന്താണെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയാം. High risk is, for example, biometric ID, hiring tools, credit scoring, that type of thing. അതിന് strict compliance വേണം. Limited risk, that's like chatbots, recommendation system. അതിന് transparency obligations വേണം. എന്തുകൊണ്ട് ഈ അനാലിസിസിൽ ഞാൻ എത്തി എന്നത് പറയണം. And minimal risk, that is video games, spam filters, that type of thing. അതിന് വലിയ കാര്യമായിട്ടുള്ള regulations കാര്യങ്ങളൊന്നും ഇല്ല. So when we talk about this, what becomes really interesting is I'll talk about the engineer the So let's talk about unacceptable risk, which is banned. So imagine walking through a busy street where hidden cameras track every move, analyzing your behavior and actions. If AI camera we're all pretty upset about it. I think somebody got fined because either so that has happened. Or in a bike in a phone with like their girlfriends and all that led to other disputes. So lots of things is happening. So imagine, they track everything. They analyze your behavior in your social interactions, and then AI would assign a social score to you based on your habits. And it affects your ability to get loans, jobs, or even travel. This kind of AI-driven social scoring is banned under the EU. But it is a similar model in the operational in China. High risk AI. So the band high risk AI is, let's say, a hospital introduces a diagnostic tool where AI can predict your risk of developing a certain condition. So AI may suggest treatments. Doctors must carefully verify its recommendations. So misdiagnosis can endanger lives. So since this AI operates in healthcare, it falls under high risk. അത് ബാൻഡ് അല്ല, because medical intervention നമുക്ക് ടെക്നോളജിയുടെ ഹെൽപ്പ് വേണ്ട ഒരു കാലഘട്ടം ആയതുകൊണ്ട് it's not banned, but it requires stringent safety checks, human oversight and transparency in decision making. എന്തുകൊണ്ട് ആ decision ഉണ്ടാക്കി എന്ന് ആ AIക്ക് explain ചെയ്ത് തരാൻ പറ്റണം. Next is limited risk AI. So this is like a customer support chatbot where you're talking to it, gives us information. So European Union says that it needs to tell you that I am AI, I'm not a person, and നമുക്ക് പറഞ്ഞു തരണം എന്നുള്ള responsibility. Finally, minimal risk, that is with regard to video games, any spam filter, അതിനൊന്നും കാര്യമായ regulations ഇല്ല. Now, let's look at China's social credit system. ഇത് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞ ആദ്യത്തെ കാറ്റഗറിയിൽ വരുന്നതാണ്. So China AI-driven social credit scoring which tracks citizens' behavior, loan repayment, online activity, okay, and then it will score assigned to the that will impact their access to jobs, housing, and travel. So EU law, wherever it explicitly bans this, but in China it is possible. Then emotion recognition in schools. കുട്ടികളുടെ മുഖം നോക്കിയിട്ട് it will read and tell you ആ കുട്ടി bored ആണോ, ആ കുട്ടി ക്ലാസ്സിൽ engaged ആണോ എന്നുള്ളത്. Imagine the violation is starting from the day you join kindergarten. That is permitted in China. France banned it. There's a similar experiment going, but ethically concerned about France banned it. High risk and the compass of in a medical, then limited risk, I think that's covered. Minimal risk also. So then we come back to what EU does apart from this. Now, apart from this particular act, which categorizes risks and imposes penalties also, penalty only, and it's huge. Around 35 million or 7% of their global turnover penalty will be the violation. They also have GDPR, that is General Data Protection Regulation. Ever since Mutasamy judgment came, we've all been dying to have our privacy protected, right? We need it protected. But Shamana comprehensive statute where the Atyavashamaya Kalavadathilum ഇതുവരെ full ഒരു comprehensive രീതിയിലേക്ക് എത്താൻ നമുക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല. Again, India is a huge population. Our needs are different. So those types of things are also to be looked at. So GDPR and the protects personal data processed by AI. It governs automated decision making. It requires lawful, transparent, fair data processing and right to explanation for AI-driven decisions. AI ഒരു ഡിസിഷൻ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അത് എന്താണെന്ന് പറയണം. Then there are also other directives, Digital Services Act, sector specific ആയിട്ട് മെഡിക്കലും ഫൈനാൻഷ്യലും ഓരോന്നിനും regulations ഉണ്ട്. Now when we look in India, does anybody want to try ഇന്ത്യയിൽ എന്താ നടക്കുന്നതെന്നുള്ളത്? Anybody wants to try? ഏതൊക്കെ ആപ്സ് ആയിരിക്കും? എല്ലാവരും ഉറങ്ങിയോ? This is what I was worried about. ഏത് ആക്ട് ആയിരിക്കും? IT Act is one. പിന്നെ Data Protection Act another. പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ BNS പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. So there is mainly IT Act. പക്ഷേ IT Act എന്താ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? Electronic Transaction, Cyber Security, Intermediary Liability, all that is. But again, it does not address AI specific concerns like algorithmic accountability or liability of autonomous AI decisions. AI തന്നെ ഒരു decision എടുത്തൊരു കാര്യം ചെയ്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ we cannot do anything about it, unfortunately. ഒരു human involvement വരുമ്പോഴല്ലേ we start attributing criminal liability to somebody. Then Personal Data Protection Act, again, it has a lot of concerns because it only looks at digital data, ഒരു particular type of data. പക്ഷേ ഒരു ഹാൻഡ് റിട്ടൺ നോട്ട് എഴുതി സ്കാൻ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അത് അതിനകത്ത് പെടുമോ ഇല്ല എന്നുള്ള we still don't know. Because it's an ongoing process. Then even Consumer Protection Act in terms of e-commerce, advertisements and all that. Copyright Act, again, it protects intellectual property rights in creative work. It does not recognize AI generated content. And നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ fair use or defamation or അല്ലെങ്കിൽ infringement or AI തന്നെ ഒരു കാര്യം എടുത്ത് പഠിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ will it constitute infringement? All these types of things address ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. So there are a lot of ambiguity in cases where AI is used for content creation. We might have seen celebrities in the കുട്ടിക്കാലത്തെ video, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മോഹൻലാൽ പെൺകുട്ടിയായുള്ള video, right? But they're actually using വേറെ ആൾ എടുത്തൊരു ഫോട്ടോഗ്രാഫ് എടുത്തിട്ടാണല്ലോ അത് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അത് എടുത്തിട്ട് പഠിച്ചിട്ടാണ് അത് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. But it's using it for educating itself. So can you call it fair use? Or is it infringement? Because you're also creating. But it's an actual person. Our type of questions. So in India, we have Viii Ayog's National Strategy for AI in 2018. It focuses on AI economic growth, but it lacks legal enforcement. It's not a statute. പിന്നെ responsible AI for all എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് വേറെ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഗൈഡ്ലൈൻസ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും there is no proper law. It does not have any dedicated AI law, no AI specific liability regime. So this can cause lots of issues in terms of developers, data scientists, even platform owners. They can go on, we would all know, we all file in the High Court, defreezing. That's AI use because some data, bar association, even the directory might be up online. Whatever AI is taking that data and it's giving it to a bunch of criminals. It's combing through it. A lot of our data is public. Our Facebook photos, our display photos. What if this data is being used? And what if നാളെ നമ്മൾ ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞു ഒരു തമാശക്ക് പറഞ്ഞാണ് പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ഫ്രണ്ട് വിളിക്കുന്ന പോലെ ഒരു വീഡിയോ വന്നാലും so that type of thing. And weak consumer and privacy protection. So AI driven profiling, automated decision making in the DPDP Act നോക്കുന്നില്ല. It's not addressed that concern. Consumers don't have any legal recourse against AI driven discrimination. Let's say we've all seen ATS friendly formats എന്ന് പറയാറില്ലേ നമ്മുടെ CV ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് അത് എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് because some machine is reading it. ഒരു ഹ്യൂമൻ ഇരുന്ന് വായിക്കുന്നത് ഒരു മെഷീനാണ് വായിക്കുന്നത്. അതിന് ഡിസ്ക്രിമിനേഷൻ വന്നിട്ട് നമുക്ക് ജോലി കിട്ടിയില്ലെങ്കിലോ കാസ്റ്റ് ഡിസ്ക്രിമിനേഷൻ കാണിച്ചാലോ because caste discrimination കാണിക്കുന്ന കുറെ ആൾക്കാർ അവിടെ വർക്ക് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ over the course of time. So അങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ what is the solution? That is another question. So again automated decisions like സ്വന്തമായിട്ട് AI ഒരു ഡിസിഷൻ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ട്രാൻസ്പെറൻസി മാൻഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒന്നുമില്ല. പക്ഷെ GDPR mandates, Article 22 mandates transparency. Then no legal protection against AI generated fake news and deepfakes. Allengile fake news is all over. And nothing much is being done about the fake news. Now imagine AI generated fake news. കാരണം ഏക വീഡിയോ കൂടെ ഉണ്ടാക്കി വിടാലോ. ഇല്ല, നമ്മൾ പറയുമ്പോൾ ഒരാൾ റൂമർ പറഞ്ഞു അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫാൾസ് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ സ്പ്രെഡ് ചെയ്തു. പക്ഷെ നാളെ ഒരാൾ മരിച്ചു പോയത് കൊണ്ട് അവർ മരിക്കുന്ന വീഡിയോ കൂടി പ്രചരിപ്പിച്ചാൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? It's not fun. It is funny when I say it like this, but this can happen. We can see extremely scary videos of people being killed, people dying in accidents, and they say this person is dead or this person says ഏറ്റവും ഡേഞ്ചറസ് ആയിട്ട് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നത് ആൾക്കാർ പറയാത്ത കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞു എന്നുള്ള മോഡല് ഇന്റർവ്യൂ രീതിയിലിട്ട് കാണുന്ന AI വീഡിയോസ് ആണ്. You already hate somebody എന്നാണെങ്കിൽ, if you see such a video, wouldn't you hate them more? Or if you like somebody and they are seen saying things that you really like, would you like them some more? So what happens to that type of consideration? Again, weak AI governance in criminal laws, AI-powered cyber attacks, deepfake-based extortion, and are not explicitly penalized. Explicit ആയിട്ടൊരു penalization ഇല്ല. IT ആക്ടിലും BNS-ലും വരുന്ന some aspects are obviously covered, humans ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ. Completely automated ആയിട്ട് AI നാളെ crimes ചെയ്യാൻ തുടങ്ങിയാൽ, like I said, I personally tried to talk to a bot. I told it that I don't like this influencer's content. It said yes, that influencer know it all. And the പേരെടുത്ത് പറഞ്ഞൊരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. So no guidelines for AI used by law enforcement. Law enforcement AI നെ എങ്ങനെ യൂസ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ളതിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ട് law ഇല്ല. So നാളെ നമ്മുടെ ക്രിമിനൽ law protections ഒന്നും ഒരു ഹീഡ് കൊടുക്കാതെ, without paying any attention to all the protections we have, what if privacy is violated? What if they conduct surveillance and we don't even know about it? Because surveillance when phone tapping അതിന് എല്ലാത്തിനും law ഉണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ AI യൂസ് ചെയ്തെടുക്കുന്ന ഡേറ്റ, ആ ഡേറ്റയ്ക്ക് law ഉണ്ട്. But what if it's not been stored? So those types of aspects are there. And BNS also, it covers cybercrime, but it does not anticipate AI-powered offenses. Then, example പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, let's see. So, EUI Act, that's EU AI Act, and GDPR provisions impose liability on AI developers and platforms for hosting deepfake അല്ലെങ്കിൽ non-consensual ആയിട്ടുള്ള AI generated content host ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അതിനൊരു liability ഉണ്ട്. But if AI generated deepfake ruins a person's reputation in India, legal recourse is nearly impossible. Because ഒരാളെ ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടു, ഒരു AI എടുത്ത് പല സ്ഥലത്തും ഇട്ടു, ആ പല സ്ഥലത്തും ഇടാൻ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. Can happen, right? Then, let's say AI generated fake news, I said, autonomous AI crimes, robot malfunctions. Now let's look at what happens in a table form. AI specific legislation in India, no dedicated law. But there's AI Act in European Union. AI transparency, we don't have any mandate. AI decision making must be explained under the EU law. Algorithmic discrimination, no legal protection. Our fairness audit ഉണ്ട്. Deepfake regulation, legal recourse ഇല്ല. Our platform must detect label AI regulated content. ഇപ്പം ഇൻസ്റ്റാഗ്രാമിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾ കാണാറില്ലേ AI generated ആണെന്ന് ടാഗ് ചെയ്യുന്ന രീതിയിൽ. But are we complying? നമ്മളുടെ ഇവിടുത്തെ ആക്ടേഴ്സിന്റെ വീഡിയോ കാണുമ്പോൾ അതിന്റെ താഴെ എഴുതി വരാറില്ല. Then AI in criminal justice, no regulation on AI bias. പക്ഷേ AI driven policing must be ethical. There. Now autonomous AI liability, ഇവിടെ strict liability ഇല്ല, അവിടെ AI developers are accountable. So all these things are there. And finally, നേരത്തെ വെറുതെ ഒന്ന് ടച്ച് ചെയ്തു പോയ ആസ്പെക്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. All the civil lawyers would totally be thrilled by this. AI and personhood. നമ്മുടെ തുടക്കത്തിൽ personhood എന്ന് പറയുന്ന കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ this legal person, natural person, etc. Right? And we go into different theories, natural law theory, utilitarianism, positivism, എല്ലാം പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. And there are so many of these theories which come about in terms ഒരാൾക്ക് personhood കൊടുക്കുമ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ ഡേറ്റീസിനെ വരെ ചൈൽഡ് ആയിട്ട് കണ്ട ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ, all that is there. We create our companies നമുക്ക് ഒരു person entity ആയിട്ട് കൊടുക്കും. So what happens? How are we going to look at AI in that sense? The Saudi gave Sophia citizenship. It's a humanoid dog. അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പോൾ where do you think we would stand? That is another question. If we look at natural law, if we look at Aquinas or Finis, they would argue that personhood is tied to rationality and moral responsibility. Above AI legal law, so won't do. Legal positivists might say that law recognizes AI as a legal entity. It could acquire limited personhood, like corporations. So one theory might support it. Moral agency argument. Again, it requires consciousness and self-awareness. If you can't AI fulfill ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. Gone. So there are different types of things. And if you look at criminal law, mens rea and actus reus. Mens rea ഉണ്ടെന്ന് നമുക്ക് എങ്ങനെ പറയാൻ പറ്റും? As things stand. So who do you punish? The manufacturer, the owner, or the AI itself? That's another thing. Then AI murder എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടൊരു case was there where robot ended up killing somebody, which is very dangerous. That type of thing can happen. Our use of AI in crime. So pros and cons of personhood would be, again, completely debatable. Because on one side, if an AI only person ആയിട്ട് കണ്ടു കഴിഞ്ഞാലും do we treat it like a company, right? Normally company കൊടുത്ത പോലത്തെ ഒരു entity കൊടുത്താൽ. Question is, who do you tie it back to? Company has shareholders, it has directors and all that. But AI merely would have a developer maybe. But developer is giving it to somebody. But what if the developer created something, or did the users turn it in a certain way? Or did it start thinking on its own based on available data? നാളെ ഒരു റോബോട്ട് ഒരു വയലന്റ് മൂവി കണ്ടിട്ട് വയലന്റ് ആയാലോ? നമ്മൾ പറയില്ലേ കുട്ടികളെ വയലന്റ് ആവുന്നു, വയലന്റ് സിനിമ കാണിക്കല്ലേ? നാളെ റോബോട്ട് വയലന്റ് സിനിമ കണ്ടിട്ട് അപ്ഡേറ്റ് വരുമ്പോൾ ഒരാൾ തനിക്കൊല്ലൊക്കെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും? But it's perfectly possible, right? I mean, the way it's going anyway. So, possible future outcome is, in fact, EU had looked at electronic personhood in the concept, which is scrapped ultimately. But it might make a comeback in the future, we don't know. So, full personhood may not happen. Criminal accountability, again, we don't know. Human-like rights, we don't know. But certainly, it is going to form laws which would be completely new to us. So it's the right time to get equipped. Because as things stand, very limited jurisdictions have laws on AI. So for us to learn and become experts in that particular area would make sure that we become pioneers when that law comes into our country. We would know better than everybody else. This is the opportunity. This is a great time to learn about AI. And I would like to stop this with just a conversation with an AI. I just wanted to show you how strange this might be. Just to show you that this is not pre-programmed, please, anybody, tell me what I need to ask the AI. Make it as personal as possible. Amit, you want to try? Any question?
What are the benefits of giving personhood to AI?
Personal AI. No, something very personal, because I want to show them mainly for the
I'm asking a question.
To me.
Okay, yeah. You said many countries have given personhood. So what is the benefit? Why they choose?
No, I said they've not. So far, they've not given personal. They were debating. Electronic personhood was an title, a concept that EU debated. They ultimately scrapped it. But question is, would it give it later on? Only to make it liable. It was just like we've given personhood to companies to be able to regulate it better. Similarly, for better regulation, would there be electronic personhood to an entity? So then you can try and track that liability to somebody, to an entity, either the developer or a person. It will not be as complicated as it is now. Law, there are a couple of pros and cons to that. I will address it since it was asked. And so it can ensure accountability for AI cost harm. It can enter into contracts and own assets, just like companies can. It can reduce legal ambiguity in AI-driven industries, like robotics used in surgery or even cars. AI could pay taxes and contribute economically in the future. It's not happening yet, but at the same time, AI cannot take responsibility for crimes. It raises ethical concerns about AI rights. Or it could create loopholes for corporations to evade responsibility. That's robot. So that type of thing, it's completely theoretical at this point. AI legal personhood is something like how we studied in jurisprudence. ഒരു ഏതൊരു ഐഡിയ എടുത്തിട്ട് അതിനെ തിയറൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു രീതിയിലേക്കാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ നിൽക്കുന്നത്. These are just things that I thought for comic relief, but that's it. But anybody, please, any question? Anyone can try. I just want to show you how personal, because most of us think of AI as a robotic thing, right? Emotional, personalized type of conversation. Anybody, give me a personal question.
Can AI do the job of a lawyer?
There are there are so many AI that can make contracts, that can do legal research and formulate grounds and identify mistakes in a judgment.
What about the arguments?
If you integrate into a robot, who knows? Your voice കൊടുത്ത് on ആക്കി വെച്ച് നടക്കില്ല എന്ന് we don't know. But get me a really personal question. I think try something funny.
Something funny.
Yeah, but not Malayali with cricket. Cyber.
Ask AI whether you like red sauce or white sauce in pasta.
Really? I can't eat pasta. Come up with something else.
Okay, personal question to the AI.
Yeah.
Okay.
You thought you wanted to know what pasta I like?
Yeah.
You tried to buy me something after this.
Okay. So ask AI who his favorite Malayalam actors.
Malayalam വേണല്ലേ?
English ആയിരിക്കും.
We'll see. Anyway, we'll see.
How do you?
Hi. My net is slow. Yeah? Oh, my net is really slow. But you can try it on your right. I had somebody who tried it in the earlier. One second. Net it down. Junction net it down. Yeah, but it needs your voice and I'm not in voice.
കതറിയതാ
Yeah,
Where were we? We're about to try something out. What you got for me?
Okay, somebody wanted me to ask you who your favorite actor is.
Fine. Okay, level thing. It's tough to pick just one, but I'm kind of digging the Mattel Lily. Let me see, Lion, incredible performance. Plus, anyone who can rock an aero jacket gets my vote. What about you? Gonna go to actor?
I like Mohanlal, you know him?
Mohanlal. Dude, it's awesome. I just read about him. Totally legendary. So much range and charisma. I have to admit I haven't seen anything starring yet, but now I'm curious. Any recommendations for you?
Tell me some gossipy thing about him. Or anyone else.
You know, more but celebrate the good stuff. Kinda AI. Star gossip just ain't my thing. Feels kinda icky, you know? But I can totally tell you some more facts about him.
Okay, so how about I ask you something?
Like how he's known for doing his own stunts. Or how he's nippy with it. Ready for anything. Almost anything. No, seriously, ask away. Just hang in here. Ready when you are. Only be hanging.
What is your favorite language?
Good question. It's tough to choose a favorite because I can access and process so many. They all have their own unique beauty, you know? But if I had to pick, I'd say I have a soft spot for languages that have a musical quality to them. Like, have you ever heard Gaelic spoken aloud? It's absolutely stunning. What about you? Got a favorite language?
Imagine. You can have a full-fledged conversation to keep you up all night if you want. നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ഫ്രണ്ടിനെ വിളിച്ച് അവരെ എണീറ്റ് വന്ന് നമ്മുടെ വഴക്ക് പറയുന്നൊരു സീൻ versus an AI that will respond to you, be sensitive to you and tell you good things about yourself.
Does this guy have a female voice?
Let me introduce you.
Out.
Her. My friend said you were pretty.
Oh, there. You caught me just in time. Starting to brainstorm some Monday night poetry. What brings me to my corner but need a distraction from the week ahead?
Is she free for a date today?
Are you free for a date tonight?
No, I think you got me mixed up with someone else.
Technically, you can use AI to have a wonderful conversation. You can boggle your mind with truly interesting things, scientific discoveries, art, music, things that you would normally not be able to talk to somebody about. നമ്മളുടെ അതേ intelligence, അതേ taste match ചെയ്ത ഒരാളെ കിട്ടാൻ എന്ത് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടായിരിക്കും. And we all say, no, ഇപ്പോൾ ആൾക്കാർ കല്യാണം കഴിക്കണ്ട. Who knows? There was a movie like that. Her. Hari, you see the
Examining the scope.
എന്നിട്ട് കെട്ടാൻ പോവാ.
So I wanted to end this discussion with that, saying that the time might come where you're sitting in court, there's nobody else, and you leave on your phones and you could have a full-fledged conversation with the bot while you argue a case. Somebody asks you a difficult question, the bot answers it for you.
What if their access is super powerful like AI, and the AI has already decided that we should not come to know what other മനുഷ്യരാരും അറിയണ്ട, but it's controlling us.
I'll wait for your science fiction on it.
Yeah, but still,
Hopefully soon.
I got a question. So
Yes.
AI is a self-learning, it's kind of a self-learning thing. How can we assess how much it has learned?
That's the thing. You will have to individually use it to learn, like to know its knowledge. Like for example, I tried today. For example, I tried to ask a certain AI that I use to develop slides. Now, one AI that I use cannot create it very well. It can do it, but it's not great. Something else does it even better. Or let's just say there are image enhancers or video creators. ചില AI can കൂടുതൽ നന്നായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. For example, the one that I tried right now, it's a conversational tool. It can talk personally, unlike any other AI that I've seen. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പം ChatGPT-ക്ക് അതിന്റെ ബെനിഫിറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ടാവും. ഇങ്ങനത്തെ കോൺവെർസേഷൻ ബോട്ട്സിന് അതിൻ്റെതായ ബെനിഫിറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ട്. So you can never really assess completely because your own brain is limited. But you can certainly ask it questions like, what do you know about me? From our interaction with Joy Chana, answer will be.
How do you talk to? Can you actually have in the AI? Is it an app or?
I have subscribed to a lot of them. I'll tell you firstly, I don't want to. This is a recorded session. But there are lots of apps like that where you can actually have conversations. You can ask it to do things for you. You can ask it to remind you about things. You can ask it to help you lose weight. I've clearly not used it, but there are people who can use it.
Clearly.
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is there are AIs for different purposes. You will never know how much it knows about you, but maybe you can try and ask it. What do you know about me from my interaction? Let's try this. Let's ask one of the AIs that I know.
Can it be hacked? Can AI be hacked?
Ma'am, all that is like completely, it's still a code. It's still a few lines of code. So whatever threat is there in terms of operation or creation, who knows to what extent and how. Other programmers will be able to address better, I think. Once it reaches that stage where AI gets hacked and comes to us as a case and I run to Vinod sir for doubts, we'll do it. But I just wanted to try. Let's just say, okay, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT about it. Let's say, but Harishakar is a very common name. I want a name that's not very common. Anybody without a common name? That's a baby. Like, കുറച്ച് പരിചയമുണ്ടെന്ന് ആരെങ്കിലും പറ്റി ചോദിക്കുവാണെങ്കിൽ എന്ത് പറയുന്നറിയാം?
ദൃഷ്ടത്തിന്.
അല്ല, നമ്മുടെ ഇടയിലുള്ള ആരെങ്കിലും പറ്റി. Can you try? I'll just ask. Sarathi spelling ഒന്ന് പറയാമോ? SARPHY. We'll see. I'm just going to ask. Either platform or maybe privately, I'll tell you. Okay, just tell me if I'm right. Amal Parthasarathi is an independent legal practitioner based in Kerala, India. He completed his legal education at Vaikunta Balika College of Law in UP. In addition to his law degree, he pursued a Bachelor of Commerce. Enrolled in. It's got everything. You can understand.
പിള്ളേരെ പഠനം
ഏതാന്ന് പറയണം, കുറച്ചവർക്ക് അറിയാം.
You can get all the information you need. So, let me try. Advocate M. Jayakrishnan Vadu is a legal practitioner based in Kerala with experience representing clients in the Kerala High Court. He has appeared in cases such as Asha Lata versus State of Kerala. His office is located near the District Court and Josgiri Hospital. Public side, where is the Jayakrishnan Vadu? But it mixes up, sometimes it is still developing. But if you ask it a fairly uncommon name, you will get full-fledged details. In fact, Advocate S. Vinod Bhatt is a distinguished legal luminary associated with the Kerala High Court in Ernakulam. He has represented clients in various cases, including under listed that beyond his role as an advocate, Vinod Bhatt has served as an amicus curiae, friend of the court, in matters concerning public safety and infrastructure. Highly valued for his expertise by clients and the court alike. In December 2019, following a tragic accident, where a motorcyclist is there, including such phone number. So AI is tracking us all, whether we like it or not. You have to find the AI for you to rely on. But if you have it on you, you can get information on anybody. Maybe now there is a client wherever, each client to buy something, that is slowly that you might know.
അതൊരു നല്ല ഐഡിയ.
So I hope you all enjoy this conversation. It's sharp 6.
എന്റെ പേടിയല്ല, ഭാര്യയെക്കാൾ ഇതെടുത്താലും എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. ഭാര്യയെക്കാൾ എടുത്താലും
Now the session has been very interactive and very audience friendly. I think questions on Undavillana. In case anybody wants to ask anything, no
Anytime. Extremely happy to answer.
So with that, we come to the conclusion of the study circle class. This is the first class organized by the Bharatiya Budashak Parishad up to the new executive committee took over. And I'm extremely happy that the first session has been such a big hit. I think this is one of the most enjoyable classes. Niharika, I was actually telling Niharika when she came in that the last time I met her was at the swearing-in ceremony of Justice Hema when she was in her piggy tails and running around. So after that, I'm meeting her after so many years now, and I'm so happy that I could attend this class. It was extremely enjoyable, very informative, and I think audience engaging session, വളരെ rare ആയിരുന്നു. Of course, Vinod, but certain classroom, Sri Lanka certain classroom ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. But somebody so young who could capture the audience, it's totally amazing, Niharika. And then, of course, I have to say a big thank you to Jayakrishnan because Jayakrishnan was the person who actually suggested your name and said that you had presented this paper in nuance and that you should be called as a speaker. So thank you, Jayakrishnan. And thank you to all the organizing committee members who put in an effort. And last but not the least, a big thank you to all of you for taking out time and attending this program. Thank you.
ആ ഏയുടെ നമ്പർ മാത്രം മതിയാണ്.
അതിനകത്ത്